Welcome to Funky's World. Okay, I made a Mario Kart video and then I decided I didn't like it, so we're not going to do that. Oh, thank you. Okay. We're going to do genealogy, and I'm going to talk to you about research, not only in the context of genealogy, but also in the context of what I do with the missing. So, seaside behind me. When it comes to genealogy, research doesn't have to cost a ton of money. Now, I've had Ancestry forever and ever and ever. We started using Ancestry back when it was actually free. Then they changed it a little bit and they made it so that every new database was free for a certain period of time. Then it went behind the paywall. And then pretty much everything went behind the paywall. But we've had it off and on since then, paid. In my personal opinion, it is the one paid service for genealogy that you really should have, especially if you did your DNA with them. That's just my opinion. Family Search is wonderful. Family Search has some different records, some same records, and it's invaluable and completely and utterly free. I don't know enough about MyHeritage's actual records. I will tell you this. There's a little trick with MyHeritage. If you want to maximize your DNA, and you've put your raw data on MyHeritage from somewhere else, you can pay a one-time fee of $10 to get complete access to matches and all of that stuff. One-time fee, $10. It's well worth it. I did it forever ago for mine. Ugh. Sorry, I have absolutely horrible arthritis in my neck, and some of my scoliosis is in my neck, and the rest is in my. Anyway, so it's painful. So I'm gonna sit that my head against Mom. Anyway, so I recommend that. I'm starting this video with my recommendations. As someone who has been doing their family genealogy for 27 years, so I'm not a newbie here, and I'm not a beginner. I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means, but I'm definitely high-level intermediate. As far as, like I said, I've been doing it for 27 years. I know a lot of tips and tricks. I just got Fold 3, which is really cheap, which I may or may not keep. It's through Ancestry. I just added it because I needed to see that document, so I may or may not keep it. It just depends, you know. You don't need it unless you have, excuse me, huge family full of military. I think I'm going to use it for a bit, see what I can pull up in terms of my military history, then I'll cancel it. And you can do that. You can have, and I've heard expert genealogists say, just get Ancestry for a month, do everything you possibly can, during that period and during that free period and cancel it, and then go back a few months later when you have a couple extra dollars and do it again. And I don't like that. I don't like that. First of all, with Ancestry, you can look at trees if you have a paid membership. You can't even look at trees if you don't have a paid membership. Your DNA, if you took your DNA test through Ancestry, even if you put it elsewhere, which I did, I put mine on GEDmatch. Mine is on DNA Solves, which is awesome. Mine is on MyHeritage. Mine is on FTDNA. Ancestry, of course, and a couple other places, I think. Because you're going to get your best representative of matches that way. So I highly recommend that you download your raw data. It's very easy. Make sure you put it somewhere on your computer you can actually locate it. That's more for me than you. Because if you don't tell it where to put it, it'll just put it, and then you'll have to find it. It's a scavenger hunt. Like with a lot of other things that you download to your computer, if you don't tell it, put it in this folder, it'll put it. And then it's a scavenger hunt to find what you just downloaded. So, yes, it'll be in the downloads folder, but where? Sometimes, like I said, it's a scavenger hunt that you don't want to have to undertake. So, I also recommend some kind of newspaper something. Newspapers.com is affiliated with Ancestry. I have a fellow genealogist that I work with who has newspapers.com, so if I need to, I can go on through her. Not a big deal. But so that's the plan. Another thing that I highly recommend are books. Now, I talked to you a little bit about Google Play and how they have the older books, the books that tend to be out of copyright, family histories, town vitals, things like that, town histories, old ones. So even if you have an Apple device, download Google Play books to your Apple device from the App Store. Because if you're a genealogist, it's going to make a world of difference for you. Because, and I'll show you, because my own family has a number of, okay, here's reading playbooks. Okay. All right. Now, this is Vital Records Town of Douglas. Did you see what? Whoops! What the? Okay. That's Vital Records Town of Douglas. Then we have historical. What? Sutton. Is that Sutton? No, Sketch. Sturbridge. Different things for the state of Maine. The Dyer family, which is my family. The Phelps family, which is my family. And I talked about this, but it's very important to keep your books in libraries in shelves like this, okay? These are my shelves. We have genealogy, we have historic events, nostalgia, reference, true crime, and wrestling, okay? Now yours can be whatever you want. Maybe you do it by author or whatever. Now back to here. If you go to books, okay, just want to show you this. That little triangle is Google Play Books, okay? And Apple Books is right above it. That open book right above it in orange, right there. Again, I have, now on here it's a little bit different, okay? You come up to the top, there's a little thing, you press it, and you have that come out. True crime and genealogy. That's all I have in here right now. So, they also have reading goals. They give you a 30-minute a day goal. And once you start reading, the timer goes down. And okay, here's my true crime shelf. Okay, I recently got one on a case that we featured. Here's my genealogy shelf. Okay. Now, do I have all my books on a shelf? No, I don't think so. Make sure they're books you wanted. Nostalgia. Done. Added. So, it was a childhood book. Anyway, so like I said, and you have sample books. I don't have any samples right now. PDFs, I don't have any of those right now. At least not in here. And they will put series of books together, which I like, on here. That's a new thing they started doing. So anyway. So yeah. Also, Libby is a library app, as is Hoopla, and they're both, you're able to get books from the library. Take copious notes if you get books from the library. I also love this. Let me show you this. This is called Goodreads. Now they have a lot of these sort of hi mom apps and programs that allow you to sort books by books you've read, books you want to read, things like that in your list. Actually, one of my friends, boy, she wants to read a lot. She does read a lot. I do too. Um, and they'll recommend books to me based on books I've read. But yeah, it's let me see here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Gotta get rid of all these notifications. Okay, let's go down here. My books. Okay, it's down at the bottom. Now I have a want to read list and a read list. I didn't even think to look at my want to read list. And you can add books to your list, and it's very easy to get rid of one. I have that one, so I can get rid of that one. Remove. Okay, that's it. And why did that not? Anyway. So, yeah. And the books that I've read that I have here so far. Okay, with genealogy books, you don't just sit and read the book, okay? Because they're reference books. So they're teaching you something. So you want to use the appendix, you want to use the indexes, you want to use, or indices, depending on how you say it. I can't think of the word. Front of the book where the chapters are. My goodness, I can't think of the word. Anyway, you want to use all those things to pinpoint the areas that you need to look at in that book and take notes. Or highlight if you feel comfortable. You can highlight actually in these programs. And you can click directly on links. So that helps too. Well, that was my VV. Excuse me. And remember, if you're helping someone else, if you're a genealogist who's been doing it a while, and you're helping someone else, keep their stuff separate. From yours. I got a couple people on that one, so. One I have in my research book, but she's got her own section. The other one, basically, I'm doing by email with the gentleman, so. I used to depend on my mother to help me with this stuff, and she used to say, "You get all the credit." I don't take it. I always tell people, you are the one that started it. You are the one that did it. You know what I mean? I never would have started a project like that on my own. Now I am the family historian because she's gone, and I have to take up the reins and continue on. how old was she when she started? Let's see. She was in her early 40s. But she was actually younger than that because she started digging into her dad. Oops. Late nights. In Douglas. So probably in her 20s or 30s. So my mother had, God, close to 40 years experience. And that was before the internet. I don't know what she did before the internet on her late night searches. I know she did a lot of calling during the day, like town halls and stuff in Maine, and taking notes and things like that. I wish I still had those old notes. Not that it matters, because we now know who her father was, but it would just be nice. And that's another thing. If you have handwriting, and we talked about this in the last video, of an ancestor, hold on to it. I have my great-grandmother's handwriting. I have, on my mother's side, I have my grandmother's handwriting on my father's side. I have my mother's handwriting. I do have a little bit of my father's. You know, that's important to me. I have my mother's poems, which I think I'm going to make. Yeah, I'm going to make a small scrapbook of my mother's poetry. Join me for that. We're going to put some of my mother's poetry in a scrapbook to preserve it because it's so good. And it's award-winning. So, but yeah, it's important to, and I can't stress this enough, especially from myself, keep organized. Because if you've got, well, the mess I have all over my desk at the moment, but that's mostly kid missing stuff. And I know where everything is. Okay, that's March over there. That's February's updates. That's the March list. You know, that sort of thing. I know where everything is. It's just a mess. So try to keep it all organized by family if possible. Now, I do it a little bit differently with my mom and my dad. Because my dad's families have larger chunks, so to speak, and more complicated groupings of information, I tend to keep more of his surname separate. With my mother's, I keep her father's side and her mother's side. Now, on her mother's side, obviously, I have Cox and Dyer, which are both ginormous, so, and historical and all that. So, also make sure you go places that you can write in all your surnames, your places, all of that stuff, and make sure you fill that stuff out on your ancestry profile because it's important. For example, let me give you mine. Let me give you the rundown. My names, my surnames are going to be Wilson, Mitchell, Cox, Dyer, Burgess, Dalzell, etc. My places are going to be Northern Ireland, Scotland, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Michigan, gosh almighty, England, Wales, you know, etc. And that's what you need to do. And you need to find forums. I actually just did a forum in Ireland, where people who still live there are trying to find relatives who immigrated. Um, you know, if some of their ancestors immigrated, some of them didn't, so they ended up back in the old country. They want to find people who live here who are related. So, also, that's another reason to use MyHeritage, because they have more in Europe and across the world. And they list them out by country. Your matches are listed out. You can go to a page where they're all listed out by country, how many matches you have in each country, and you can go through them. I love that feature. Next time we'll go through that feature, the country feature on MyHeritage. But right now it's been 25 minutes. So, but thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you next time. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 200 by Memorial Day, St. Patty's Day, and 500 by Memorial Day on the other channel. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.